To be able to display the list of products, we're going to be starting by add the controller. We have to add our product controller. So let's go to our code. And under controllers, we're going to add, I like to start by adding a simple class. And I'm going to call this product controller. That's fine. Then at the top, we have to add namespaces for Microsoft.ASP.NET Core.MVC. And then we have to add our models as well. So using SportsStore.models. And now we're gonna be able to inherit product controller from controller. And we're gonna be using a private iProduct repository because we need to list the list of products in our repository. So I'm gonna call this repository. And then in the constructor of our product controller, so we're gonna use a public constructor here called product controller. We're gonna pass an iProduct repository called repo. And you're gonna assign repo to our repository. Now, this is the magic of dependency injection, because now whenever actually there's a small error here. Product repository must be public interface. And this should do it. So again, we could not use this in a public constructor if the interface was not public. So we had to adjust that. In any case, because of dependency injection, when we call the product controller, the repository that will be created here automatically based on what we have done in our startup, based on this, it will be created a fake product repository automatically for us. Okay, so that's our controller, our product controller. Now, what is the first action that we have in our product controller? Well, let's have our list action. So I'm gonna create a method called list actually, which is a type of view results. It's called list. It's the default action. And we're gonna use here a little bit of Lambda syntax to construct, to return a view. View showing what? Showing the product list. So the model that we're gonna be sending to this view is the repository dot products. So the list of products will be sent to our first view, our list view. And of course, we are missing the semicolon at the end here. Next step here is we're going to be adding and configuring the view. So let's go back to our code. And to get us started, we're going to create the shared layout for our views. So we're going to create a folder under views called shared. So it's called shared. And under shared, you're going to create our underscore layout. So right click, add. I'm going to go to new item and then web and then razor layout. And this is the default name. We're going to keep that underscore layout.cshtml. I'm going to add. And then from here, what you're going to be changing is replacing here the title. You're going to be hard coding this, fixing this SportsStore. And that's it for now for our layout file. Remember that layout file is a general layout that gets shared across all different views. Next here, we're going to create our view starts to indicate that we want to use this layout. So we're going to be doing that directly under the views folder. So I'm going to right click, add new item, and then we're going to go to the option and select razor view start. You're going to keep this name as well, underscore viewstart.cshtml. I'm gonna add that, and by default it brings the layout, the Razor script with layout being set to _layout, which is what we want. We want the views to have this layout set automatically by default, and this will be done via the view_viewStart. Now we're gonna be able to create our view. So if you go to product controller, the view should be called list because it's the name. We are not specifying the name of the view here, so it comes up with the same name as the action name. So we're gonna create a view called list under what? Well, we have to create, the controller is called product controller. We have to create a folder called product under views. So we're gonna create product, and then under product we're gonna add our first view. So I usually like to go to new and then Razor view, and it's not called index but it's called list, list.cshtml. I'm gonna add that. In here, let's think of which model, and I'm gonna delete everything that is there. Let's think of which model you're gonna have to send over to our list view. Let's have a look here. Well, it's returning the list of products. So we're gonna have to indicate that our view will be linked to @model. Model what? Because iQueryable is also an IEnumerable. So I'm gonna link this back to an IEnumerable. Which type? A list of what? A list of products. So we are linking the model of this view to the IEnumerable. So a list of products. This is a view that is strong typed. So our list here, what we're gonna have to do, we're gonna have to just do a small little loop here. So a for each loop we're gonna be using, and we're gonna be looping through the products. Well, we can say var p in model. Again, model is the list of products, and then we just do a loop here. We're gonna use a div to put the product inside, and we're gonna use a heading 3, and we're gonna say @p.name. So we have the name of the product, then we have the description of the product, and then we have the pricing of the product inside another header tag, and this will be price, and price we're gonna format. We're gonna use toString, and we're gonna format as currency, so lowercase c. And now, well, we cannot run this yet because we're still missing one thing. We're still missing to configure our default route. So now we need to set up our default route. Let's have a look how we do that. So let's go back to our codes. We go to the startup class, and right now we don't have any routes yet created. So we're gonna have to add our first one. So the first one, we're gonna call it as, and let me give some indentation here. We're gonna call it default, which by the way, name is optional for the routes. Now the templates will look like this. By default, we're gonna have the controller set to product because we're using the product controller, it's the only one that we have, and by default the action will be the list action, and we have an optional ID here which we're not going to be using at this point. But again, controller is product, action is list. When the application runs, we're gonna activate this view right here. Let's give this a try and see how it goes. And here we have the list of our 3 fake products. Next step, we're gonna be preparing a database to store the product information.